Hi guys, I figured I'd talk about Krynky for a few minutes. There's been a lot of speculation and talk about whether the Ukrainian attack here is a good idea or a bad idea, and why does Russia keep assaulting the Ukrainian forces? So this is Krynky. It is a very small town with very few ways to enter the town. Okay, so one one way is through this forest where there is this road, you know, where you can kind of drive through the forest, and then there are these other kind of lesser roads, but these are all basically dirt roads through a forest. They're windy. They're a bit dangerous too. So that's one way in. Another way in is this road that goes northeast. This is a paved road, but again, it's just a road, and you can move on down to the east where there's a few highways here and there. Here, I'll turn on the roads for a second. So there are some highways that you can, or bigger roads that you can connect to the east. Similarly, you can. Oh, here we are. Similarly, you can move to the southwest, and again, you get to a larger town, and there's some highways, and of course, there's a highway that goes through the forest. So these are the three ways into the town. Oop. There's these are three ways into the town. You can come from the northeast, the southwest, or through the forest. Okay, and if you kind of zoom out a bit, for example, this southwest portion, um, you have to travel these long, straight paths to get to these roads that go to Krynky. Okay, and this is true on this highway. You have to go these long, straight paths. And over here, there are these long, straight paths. And of course, here. And of course, all of these roads themselves into Krynky are long and straight. And these forest roads are obviously also long and straight. So I will turn on the mapped Russian losses. Now, these are not all of the losses, but it's a good chunk of them. There are a bunch I haven't geolocated yet. I'm probably going to need like high res photography or high res satellite imagery to locate some of them. But this is a whole bunch of the losses, and if we kind of zoom out, we'll see that a bunch of them are along these long straight roads. These long straight roads just getting hit very hard. A bunch are along this highway. A bunch are just leaving the highway on these forest roads. A bunch in the forest roads. Okay. And a bunch along these routes, and I'll tell you what, there's even more along these routes. These are the ones that are very difficult for me to geolocate. So there are a whole bunch more along these routes. And of course, there's some in the town. And if you go to the west, there along these routes, you have kills. Now, I would like to note that there is a drone group that operates roughly here. So it's a Ukrainian drone group, and I don't think they post many videos, or if they do, I certainly don't see them very often. So there is a drone group that operates in this location right here, that I just don't have information for. So I I do believe that if we were to see all of that footage, it would probably look a lot like over here, just over here. It's just that we don't see those videos, or at least I don't. Maybe they're all released and I just haven't seen them. That's possible. Anyways, so this is the issue with Krynky, okay? That Russia has a hard time getting forces to Krynky itself. So what is the purpose of this all? You can see that Russia has taken substantial casualties, or at least in terms of vehicles, they've taken substantial losses. Now, I would like to say that I have broken these down into types of losses. and I can disable some. So for example, I'll disable ships. There's no ships here. I'll disable damaged. These are just the destroyed and the abandoned. The abandoned are the ghost icons. You see this little ghost. He's abandoned. Okay, so now let's go through. I'll turn off the trucks. I'll turn off unknown. I'll turn off the civilian vehicles and the engineering vehicles, okay? I'll do the same for the destroyed. So we'll turn off the EW, unknown tanks, the non-artillery guns. We'll turn off the helicopter. Aren't any helicopters, but we'll turn off the engineering and the drones and the civilians and the boats and I guess air defense. I don't think there is much air defense. Okay, so this is just armored now, basically. So right now we're just looking at tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, APCs, MRAPs. Okay, so that's what we're looking at now. This is still a substantial number of vehicles. You see, um, this is a lot to lose in one town. Let me tell you. I haven't counted them all. I'm not going to count them now, but I believe it's around 40 or 50. Now, if we move on in, and this is just the mapped ones, there's more that I haven't geolocated. So if we move on into the town, of course, we have vehicles getting damaged and destroyed, moving along this road here. Of course, moving in from these kind of forest roads, and of course, moving in from this road. So, what is the purpose? The purpose is obvious. Ukraine is attacking Krynky in order to force Russia to kick them out. That's simple. I don't think Ukraine has, at least not as a primary goal, maybe as a future, like wish fulfillment. Maybe in the future they would like to expand this bridgehead and capture more towns and more ground. That's a wishful thinking. I don't think it's really their primary purpose. I don't think it's why they're here. It would be nice, but uh, they're here to force Russia to attack. The thing about Krynky is that it's difficult for Russia to attack. They have to go along these long exposed roads to get here. They have to travel through this forest, which is difficult to do, all to get here. And once they're in the town, they are subject to getting hit. And where do they get hit from? They get hit from across the river. We have artillery, drones, gimlers, and even aircraft operating on the other side of the river. The other side of the river has high ground advantage. Okay, so this side, the Ukrainian side of the river, is significantly higher than the Russian side. Basically everywhere. This is true, like basically everywhere. So Ukraine has the high ground. They have very good drone operators who can hide in these various structures, etc. You can go in an underground basement, put your antenna above ground, and fly from the underground where you're relatively safe. Okay. And Ukraine is using these advantages in addition to these long straight roads, which are easy to scout because there's bottlenecks. That Russia has to drive down these big roads. You can spot them way far out. You could have a drone just sitting right here. Just think about it. You could have a drone sitting right here and it's covering both of those roads. Okay, and that covers probably 1/3 or 1/5 of all the ways to get to Krynky just by one intersection, covering that one intersection. Then you might have like another drone over here. You might not even need a drone. You could just have some guys with binoculars looking at that. And then you could have maybe another drone over here. Then you can see everything. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of bottlenecks. The Ukrainians have a lot of advantages in terms of their sight lines and their ability to target, but they also have a lot of downsides in that you have to get your guys across the river somehow. Now, getting them across the river is easier than getting them back from the river. Okay, so think of it in terms of evacuating a wounded personnel. Say you have a guy right here, and keep in mind that all these buildings are destroyed, so there's no buildings. So imagine you have a wounded man right here. How do you get him here to like over there? How do you do that? So you would have to drag him to the river. You'd have to load him in a boat, then drive him somewhere, like either this way or that way. Either way is very dangerous. You have to drive him through these waterways, maybe offloading him onto and then carrying him, I guess, across these marshes, or else just taking a longer path. Who knows? So you, and then like maybe you bring him here and then you offload him and carry him the rest of the way. Then you have to load them on another boat and get that boat across. Okay, it's difficult, very difficult. And for this reason, you have to imagine that they're probably not evacuating very many wounded people. And that's not good for morale. When you feel that you can see where you need to be, but you can't get there, and you know you have to get there to survive, it doesn't feel good. Okay, so and what is Russia hitting this place with? Well, let's take a look. I mean, I have a lot of this mapped out, don't I? So what are they hitting it with? They're hitting it with um, drones. They're hitting it with helicopters. They're hitting it with airplanes. They're hitting with toss. They're hitting with everything. They're hitting it with everything. So the situation, if you want to boil it down, is that Ukraine is sending infantry to this town with the goal of being a target so that Russia will attack them. And in the process of attacking them, Russia will suffer damage to their vehicles and to their infantry. And simultaneously, the Ukrainian infantry will be hit by every single form of artillery and aircraft. So that's what's going on in Krynky. Um, Now you can ask, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Well, not too long ago, I'll zoom on out. Not too long ago, there was an attack in Sinkivka where Russia used, I don't know, like 8 vehicles, something like that, to attack down this road here. They attacked down like this, and those vehicles entered Sinkivka, and they were all destroyed. And there were like 8 of them. Now, can you imagine if the, you know, 50 to 100 or whatever vehicles that were in Krynky were part of this attack instead? Could Ukraine have repelled it? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe they would have repelled it anyway. Or maybe those extra forces would have been what Russia needed to break through. Similarly, you have attacks over here near Stepova. Russia has taken significant casualties attacking here. Would those extra vehicles have been enough to make a difference? I don't know. Similarly, they've been attacking Novomykhailivka. Would those extra vehicles, but enough to make a difference here. I don't know. Maybe. There are a lot of brigades. There's a lot of vehicles over here in Krynky. There's a lot. I don't know exactly how many, but Russia's lost at least 40 or 50 armored vehicles. In addition to, and those are only, I just keep in mind, those are only the ones I've geolocated. I mean, they've probably lost over 100, maybe over 150 armored vehicles. And then you have to factor in all of the other vehicles they've lost because they've lost enormous numbers of pickup trucks and loafs and minivans and all the other things. So they've lost a tremendous amount here. With multiple brigades fighting, including relatively elite brigades. They had their Marines here for a while, and they were defeated. They have, I believe, VDV here now, and they're getting defeated as well. So, is it worth it? Is trading infantry for vehicles, is it worth it? I guess that will be a question we'll have to answer later because we don't have all the information yet. But I think in the long run, we'll look back on Krynky favorably.